So most of you know about the new airport. If you're a proud Durbanite, hopefully you're not jetting off anywhere soon. But someone that was involved from start to finish is Derek Thomas. He's up next.
Good evening. I was site architect here for just over 2.5 years. I'm going to talk about my memories. It was a great project. Not about the buildings, you've all been there. There was a site 2007, before they started Mamba Alley. This is about mid-2008. This is where the parking is now. And an incredible achievement. By 2009, most of the building's up, most of the civils work is done. And then we get to that about 3 days before the airport is open. No aircraft. That's all in 2.5 years. Amazing Durban project. It was absolutely amazing to be involved. What's it like being involved in this? Well, I think of it in terms of weather. We had mud weather, where everything stuck and nothing happened for 2-3 days while the trucks got stuck out of the mud. Then the mud dried, and then we had sandstorms for days. That's the new terminal in the background there. And that's what we experienced day in and day out. So when they finally hydro-seeded, we were quite relieved. I did try to sell that image to Microsoft as a screensaver, but they said they had one like it. That was near the end of the contract. Being involved in a project like this is got some many fond memories. We had a great site camp. We were 200 people on site. I was designed a LARPer for the people. But it wasn't too stressful. If you got a bit buggered on site, you could always go and lie on the runway. And then in the evenings, we used to go and run along the runway. And they stopped us, apparently, when the aircraft came in. They got a bit annoyed about that, and we didn't understand why. How do you get things built fast? Well, you bet your guys they can't do that concrete in a certain time. They do, and you bet that you're going to eat a cane rat. That's a cane rat that's really eating it. Cane rat, if you're interested, tastes like sort of Kentucky Fried Chicken. One of the memories is we oddly had a lot of Colombian architects imported because all the South African architects had gone to Colombia or something. And we had Colombia Day with them. They were great, but the problem is with Colombians, when they start to speak English too well, they're garrulous, so we had to shut them up now and again. We had some strange rituals on site. If it was your birthday, you had to wear this hat. This sign up the top here was over the project manager's office. We changed it slightly, and would you believe they didn't notice for 2 weeks? They said they were really busy on site. Yeah, I don't believe that. This is one of the little projects I was involved in. If you're wondering how the control tower was actually built, they put the big shaft in the ground, steel cage around it, and then they hoisted the whole thing over a week period up to the top. Fantastically interesting project to have been involved with. And you can get up there if you ask nicely, you can get a view. We had some interesting people on site. It was called Mamba Alley for a reason. They used to dig drainage trenches, and these things used to get caught in them, and they have to release them back into the environment. But there were lots and lots of these things. It was really great to see them looking after the environment. Conversely, we also had a lot of bird problems, and as you know, we had the swallow problem. This machine here is still there. You'll see it as you come in at the airport, right at the end before the runway. Monitors the swallow movements and all other birds, feeds it all back into a database, which ultimately goes as a model to the control tower to say that in a certain condition, you can expect a flight and they can divert aircraft. Interesting stuff. Being a site architect is really dull at times. A lot of inspections, and you're inspecting toilets and toilets and toilets. The project management team can get a little bit out of hand sometimes, and when they do, you lock them in the bird dog kennel cages until they calm down and don't find fault. One of the funniest emails we ever got was saying that the toilet paper in the camp was about to run out. Please would we hold till the morning. They're going to have a supply at 9 o'clock. In the site office, we had all these spare drawings, so we cornered the market very quickly on that. We made quite a fortune. Airport's about aircraft. That image on the left is the first plane that supposedly landed. Happened to be flying over the airport, had engine problems, saw a brand new runway and said, wow, that's lucky. Forget that. This is the real aircraft that landed here. These are my aircraft. Trouble is, once they landed, they sort of blew around a bit, so we put a bit of stuff on them to keep them down. Calibration flight tests how the runways work in terms of the data that goes around the world. I got on board with the pilot of this plane full of equipment, and I put Jack Daniels in a Photoshop thing I sent to him trying to get him fired, but he's still flying. The fire department, not to be outdone, have their own aeroplane. They put a bonfire under it, fill it up with smoke, charge in and out, and rescue the beautiful lady on the top. And then they go and have a beer somewhere. I don't know what they do afterwards. Runways, fascinating things, runways. The lights, which you never see when you're in a passenger plane, the technology of the lights is incredible, and we had a sort of a braai one evening when they first lit those lights up, and you go, wow, this airport's coming together when you see those lights come on for the first time. Really beautiful things. Even better was the day the first aircraft landed, hitched a ride in the Oryx helicopter that accompanied that plane, flew out of King Shaka, over the stadium, over the harbour widening. 3 Durban projects in 15 minutes, and I think we've all got to be really proud that we have that sort of city. It was an amazing flight. We landed at the old airport at 15 Squadron. We hitched a ride in a police car. How's this for a day? And then we ended up at the old airport having some beers while the last passengers went through the system. That will always be in my mind as one of the great days. But in fact, airports are about that first plane landing, and to be next to the runway and have the privilege of seeing that thing come in and touch down. You're just very proud you're part of Durban and part of that project. Thank you.